Hi, so before we start, I wanted to apologize for being really inactive once again. I'm not even that busy anymore. I just didn't really have any inspiration for what to do on YouTube. However, I have decided to start a play-along series where every week I post 3 links to are going to be no moving, when it's going to be moving, and you are free to play them. And the next week. I will post another video, maybe with something else added in, and kind of go through and maybe explain what I see or uh, some clues that you might have missed and stuff like that. I hope that's gonna kind of force me to be a little bit more active. Um, However, I am trying to be a regular streaming on Twitch, so for me, if you're interested in that. But anyway, onto the subject of this video. So I recently tried to go for another Europe streak. I wasn't trying to go for like a world record or anything, so that's why I didn't use the new browser by the GeoTips team. And also, I used the an arbitrary Europe map by /peak, just to kind of spice things up a little, to kind of avoid repeats uh, that can appear on Mapper's map since we played so much. It's a little bit of a shorter one, but there were still some nice guesses so I kind of wanted to go through. And once again, kind of I'll talk about what I saw there, and yeah, let's get started. So on the first one, we are in Sweden. You can see this kind of red asphalt or reddish asphalt. It's kind of a Swedish thing. We obviously have the short stripes on the sides, which is the biggest giveaway for Sweden. Yeah, this reddish asphalt appears a lot in Sweden, especially the central and northern parts. You can also see it in Åland, in the archipelago of the coast of Finland, where there's a really good clue. Also, you can see here, it is kind of mountainous, which is relatively uncommon in like central and southern Sweden. So it should be either far north or like inland towards the border of Norway. And also the foliage is mostly birch trees and spruce trees or pine trees, which yeah, indicates like a higher latitude or higher elevation as well. I always have kind of trouble with latitude guessing in Sweden. I feel like there's not a lot that can kind of tell you where exactly you are. So I went a lot further north than I should have here. Is like the travel is kind of increased by the fact that yeah, the foliage as you go up in latitude towards the Norwegian border, it's kind of similar to what you see in like more northern latitudes. So yeah. Here we have the notorious Albanian rifts in the sky. However, you can also see these kind of pines. They're very common in like coastal mainland Greece or even coastal Croatia. They do appear a lot in this like eastern Mediterranean region. These kind of squat coastal pines. You can also see coastal pines in like Portugal and Galicia, but there they are like more taller and have like a canopy towards the top. Speaking of Portugal, here we are in Portugal. You can see these houses are mostly very whitewashed with these colorful details along the bottom and also along the windows. And that combined with the like almost aggressively red roofs is a good giveaway for Portugal. It can be sometimes kind of hard to distinguish it from southern regions of Spain. However, I feel like in Portugal, these kind of color patterns with the painted buttons and the windows and the colors of the roofs are kind of more consistent. Additionally, yeah, I'm looking plates here. You have that yellow stripe on the right. This is the look of Portugal. They're actually getting rid of it since last year, so as the calendar gets updated, that meta is no longer going to be there. So be prepared for that. Yeah, a little bit more south since basically as the farther you go, the further south you go in Portugal, like more whitewashed everything becomes. As you go more north, you'll see a lot more like this grayish stone in houses, but here basically everything was white. Okay, I didn't exactly recognize this pole. However, we do have these very helpful street signs which are in Turkish. Also, if you look there, it's kind of foggy, but you can see a sky. You can see the skyline of Istanbul actually there. Since it is European Turkey, so we gotta be close, relatively close to Istanbul. This Sokagi, I was thinking that's maybe either a city or a neighborhood. So I spent some time looking around around Istanbul. I couldn't see it. Either it's just not on the map or it's I just missed it. However, yeah, I looked around for a while. I just couldn't see anywhere, and I wasn't that committed to getting like a high score. However, I ended up guessing just 600 meters away. That was really lucky. Okay, next we are in a typical Finnish location. We have Gent 3, we have this autumny view with a lot of birch trees in autumny colors. We have this road with a yellow line. Finland, other than Norway, is well, Norway isn't actually in the EU. Finland is the only EU member that can have yellow lines, apart from some like higher elevations. But in Finland, they are very common. They are actually also getting rid of them, but as Finland isn't getting updated, you probably won't see that for quite a long time. We do have this patchwork of forests and fields. There's a few regions in like southern and central Finland. Yeah, it can be here, like around, like between Helsinki and Tampere. Then this southwestern corner is probably the most intensively farmed area, and there's also a big farmland area along the coast, like going around like Kokkola and going up to Oulu. So I kind of consider it, yeah, and Vasa. So I kind of considered where I want to go. I ended up putting in the southwest, and we're actually pretty central. Yeah. Generally, this is kind of line from like from Savonlinna to let's say up here in Raho, where like the agriculture is most intensive. As you go further east and north, it's generally just forest with like occasional patches of fields. Right now we are in Austria. I wasn't actually sure if this was Austria or Slovenia at first, since it is Gen 3. However, we have Bäckerei here with lots of German. These houses are very, very colorful, which to me indicates eastern or northern Austria. And since it is Gen 3, the only area of Austria that makes sense is the Kärnten, or sort of the area around Graz and Klagenfurt. Since for the north you eventually hit Gen 4. So I was looking around here for some kind of town name. Actually fairly rundown for an Austrian city. Kind of didn't expect that. And there we have it, Hauptplatz Leoben. Leoben is a city I've heard about before, multiple times. However, I didn't quite remember where it is, so yeah, you can see it now, but I didn't. So I spent a little bit of time kind of looking around, trying to find it. I remember that it was actually quite large, so I was a bit frustrated that I didn't see it right away. Yeah, I thought it might be close to the border, which it wasn't. And then eventually I zoomed out a bit, and yeah, I was searching for 45K here. I was looking for a church, which is in front of us, but apparently it's either on the map or you just gotta zoom in more. So I just couldn't see it. I decided to just give up and move on. I think it might even be like a close, smaller city, but it was actually there. Oh yeah, and there it is. Yeah, I just didn't zoom in far enough. Okay, so we moved on. This is very lush. I was actually thinking of northern France at first, but then so this is a British road sign. It's kind of similar to the ones you see in Ireland, but I don't think they ever have these like thick double black lines on there. Also the Irish road signs tend to have like smaller tags than to have more than one. You can also see some hedges on the left, which are typical for the British Isles. And I'm gonna look at it, this guy seems to be driving on the left, so yeah, the dot point to the UK. It is very flat here, so I thought it might be somewhere in the east, since like the western parts tend to be a bit more hilly. Yeah, it was on the eastern side, just a bit more north. Okay, now we are somewhere in the east. We do have these kind of white and black. I actually forgot what these are called in English, but yeah, those things on the side of the road. It looks very post-Soviet with a colorful metal roofs and the overall vibe this place gives. Yeah, these kind of painted sides of the roads you do see a lot in Russia and Ukraine as far as Europe goes. I checked the car meta, and indeed the car is red. So I went for Ukraine. Ukraine doesn't always have red car, but it's most common in like western and central Ukraine. And the regions of Ukraine are kind of a mystery to me, so I just left it in the west. Okay, here we have a Hungarian bollard. We also have Gen 4, kind of Central European looking looking area. You can see these houses. They have these red roofs with kind of this tent roof with the front sort of sloping back. If you've seen my oh wait, actually I haven't put it up, but anyway, this is a typical hallmark of like Hungarian inspired architecture. This sloping back roof. You see it a lot in obviously Hungary, but also in like Slovakia and the formerly Hungarian parts of Romania, sort of the whole Carpathian area. Yeah, and if you look this way, you also see the green Hungarian signs and the poles. That's pretty easy. We do have some hills in the background, which are generally either in the north or around Lake Balaton. I decided to go north as I didn't see any vineyards, which are typical for the Balaton area. Okay, here. So it is very autumny kind of desolate. This is typical of like eastern Croatia, since it is kind of it is distinctly like not Mediterranean. It's kind of more temperate. You have these tall trees, which are typical for like flat areas of like Central and Eastern Europe, mostly Eastern. And it is very flat, so that kind of points to Eastern Croatia. We do have this big river on the right side, which to me indicated is somewhere close to the border with Serbia, because that's where the biggest river in the region flows, the Danube. And I thought this might kind of fit because the river kind of goes north-south here, and there is a railway line. So I give it a shot. Yeah, like Croatia is the most, like a lot of countries have kind of autumny view, but I feel like it became a lot more common in Gen 4. You see that in Czechia, in Italy, in France, but Croatia is like the most noticeable autumny Gen 3, especially in the east. Yeah, and it was the right stretch of a river. I just didn't really pinpoint, as I wasn't confident I was actually right. Okay, let's move on to another seed. This time we are in Belgium. We have this reddish plate. The architecture, we do have this kind of darker red brick with like very wide windows and like one-story row houses, all typical for like northern and central Belgium. We'd have some Dutch on that for sale sign, so it indicates northern Belgium. And yeah, we even have a top-level domain on that sign over there. Decided to slap it in Gel. Oh, not too bad. Okay, next up, we are in France. We'd have these we have the striped road lines, but also have these trees with the terracotta roofs and this stone. If you look here, this kind of window with these wide segmented windows, and especially these wooden pale blue shutters. It's like a very typical French, especially typical in the central and southern parts. It's kind of I'm never like confident where in France I actually am, besides from like Brittany and like the south coast. It's kind of giving more southern vibes with the architecture, with the target roofs and the exposed stone everywhere. So we still some like cypress trees, but also had some birches, like some normal like Central European foliage. So I was completely confused. I said to go more south west by Limoges. I was actually quite central. Yeah, I can never quite figure France out. Alright, here we are in the Baltic. We have the white flowers everywhere. We have some bollards. I wasn't quite sure what they were. I couldn't quite see them. We also have these poles. They are concrete, which would indicate Lithuania. The tops on the one closest to us reminded me of Latvia. However, with kind of curved things on top. However, the rest were pretty straight, and that combined with the concrete nature made me decide to go with Lithuania. Also, it is pretty hilly here, which is quite uncommon in Latvia and Estonia. Although you can get some slight rolling hills in eastern Latvia. Yeah, that was Lithuania. Next up, again we do have these stripes on the side, which if you're in a like a very temperate, almost Central European looking or Mediterranean looking climate, is more usually France. It can occur a lot of countries, but in France it's most common. I kind of decided to go with like eastern here because with this line of trees, this looks like something you'd see maybe like in Luxembourg, or like if you've ever been in like southern Germany. Yeah, and it was more or less the correct area. Here we have Gen 3, we have kind of Baltic looking or Eastern European looking architecture with this like wooden look. I wasn't quite sure here. These trees are like pines more or less, which I found are most common in Latvia. However, there was nothing that would like quite tell me what this was. The poles also weren't really that helpful to me. Maybe they should have been. I just couldn't recognize them. I was looking at these graves. It kind of seemed almost as if they were in Cyril Lake. I still can't quite tell. I think they might be, at least this one. Yeah, I was trying to read here. Oh, that's an Orthodox cross here actually. Yeah, so they probably are in Cyril Lake. This probably should have been a clue to me. I didn't notice that Orthodox cross with the second cross on this in the lower position. Yeah, but I decided to go with the pines and decided to go for Latvia. And yeah, we were super far in the east, almost at the Russian border, which definitely makes sense with the Cyril Lake and the Orthodox cemetery. This part of Latvia, it's called what is it called, Latgale or something along those lines. And it is mostly Russian speaking, or it is like a very sizable Russian minority. So yeah, we're quite likely to see like Orthodox churches and Cyrillic text in there. Okay, we are in a very different looking environment here. So we are very mountainous. It is again autumny, and we have these colorful poles in this like red, orange, and green stripes. These are snow poles, and they are, as far as I know, unique to Andorra. So we are in Andorra. We have the Apennine Mountains, we have the autumny look, and we have these poles. Once again, I sort of maybe try to go for a 5k, but I didn't really want to spend too much time on it, so I just found a road going in the right direction and put it down. Yeah, you're never gonna lose too many points in Andorra. Okay, we are in Belgium again. Once again, you can see here the dark red brick, the sort of wide segmented windows, the black roof, which is typical for like Belgium. Yeah, red plate. It's kind of like natural and sort of hilly here, so I decided to go like east towards like Maastricht and this area of Netherlands, since that is quite hilly, whereas most of Flanders is like completely flat, similar to the Netherlands. Yeah, and it was right. Okay, here we have Gen 4. We have kind of like early spring. Yeah, we are in France indeed. If I go back a little bit, let me see. Yeah, here. Yeah, this kind of sign reminded me of France. This down here usually says rappel, which means like pay attention, I think. So it reminded me of France. So this tree is covered with the vines. It's also something that should have pointed me to like more northern France, because you see it quite a lot in like this oceanic climate in like Normandy, Brittany, and especially up on the British Isles. So I decided to go more east. We were actually on the border of Brittany. I didn't have any buildings like bilingual signs to kind of put me there, so didn't pick up on it. I kind of probably should have from the overgrown trees, since as I said, it's typical for it like very oceanic climate. Okay, here we have Polish bollards. We have these stripes on the side, which you can see quite a lot in Poland as well, especially on newer roads. And we have these A-shaped poles, which you do see quite a lot in Poland as well. They can be metal or concrete like this. They can also be wood. And over here you can see a typical Polish house with this kind of square shape, this low tent roof, and these little windows above the main windows. It's also made out of this like white cinder brick, which you do sometimes see like all over Poland, but in my experience it's most common in the east. You do see it quite a lot in the Baltics as well. So I decided to go more east, like north of Warsaw. Yeah, no, south of Warsaw, but broadly east. Okay, this is Luxembourg. We have the yellow plates. Gen 2 and the combination of the yellow with the black slate roofs. So pretty easy. Didn't go for anything fancy here. Just put it in the suburbs of Luxembourg City. Since statistically that's where we probably are. Okay, and it was number 20, so let's move on. So now we are somewhere in Scandinavia. If we have this typical Scandinavian color palette with the bright red and the white. You can see it mostly in Sweden, but you can see it in Norway and Finland as well. Here we have some other colors as well. Yeah, but the red is very typical. We also have the Swedish road lines on the side, and just to confirm, we have the Swedish road sign here. One of the names ends with the Ryd, which I know is a sort of regional name. In Sweden, the sort of suffixes, is that what you call it? Basically, the word endings of place names have a kind of pattern to them. Like for example, if you see a lot of places ending with a with a circle above it, o, that means creek or river. You're probably in the north. That's very common in the north, especially on the coast. And similarly, lots of places ending with the Ryd is in a certain part of like south central Sweden. I was looking for it for a while. I found a couple here. I was looking for Långaryd for a bit. I couldn't see it, so eventually moved on. It's quite a bit larger than this. I was actually looking at the wrong part of it. But yeah, generally you can find a pattern, or for example like Rup, places ending with Rup are typical in Skåne, the southernmost part of Sweden. Okay, this was a tricky one. We have this kind of exposed red break, which is very typical for northern Balkans, for like Croatia, Serbia, North Macedonia, Eastern Montenegro. yeah, on this house you can see this house as well. This house as well. Yeah, a lot of houses in this area have exposed red brick. I don't know why they do it. Maybe it's some kind of tax avoidance scheme. Yeah, but you do see it. You do see it a lot. This kind of didn't strike me as Croatian because of the weather and the general vibes. Didn't quite strike me as like Montenegro or North Macedonia as well, because the landscape and the general feel are kind of different. Like they're more mountainous or kind of seem a little bit like warmer in Macedonia's case. So I went for Serbia. Yeah, and it was right, fortunately. Okay, we're back in the Baltics. We have these bollards. I kind of forgot the bollard metaphor for the Baltics, so I had to kind of look around a bit more. Here we have a kind of blurry castle sign. I think that says loss. I couldn't quite be sure which language that is. I was staring at it for a while, which I looked around. Yeah, we have some signs here that I can't read. Or at least I mostly couldn't read them. We'd have some poles as well. They are wooden and they're like straight. So it's real Latvia, and I was kinda filtering out Lithuania as well, because we don't have any of the random blurs as well. Kind of didn't give me that vibe either. And eventually I kind of looked at this sign here, and this bottom one seemed to say Voru, which is a city in southern Estonia. So that's where I ended up going. Yeah. And now we are in Czechia. We have Gen 4. You have these houses. If you haven't seen my Architecture Guide to Europe series, check it out. I do have a episode out on Czechia, so where I talk more in detail about the features. So yeah, I kind of recognize the Czech vibes here. Also these metal poles might be unique to Czechia. I don't actually know. That's something you're probably gonna find on like geotips. It is very hilly here, but didn't quite give me the vibes of like a border of like the mountains and the borders, which would be like would have like more wooden elements and kind of different settlement structure. These are mostly made of brick. So this is to go like here north of Brno, which is like kind of a hilly region. We were actually for the east coast of Slovakia, which makes sense. Okay, here. I was studying this sign. I could read Svet here, which is a sort of Slavic word meaning world. It's very mountainous here, kind of has alpine vibe, so that brought me to Slovenia. Yeah, Kleparstvo is also Slavic. So when I zoomed there, you could briefly see a yellow road sign. So yeah, everything pointed to Slovenia here. And once again, it takes forever to finish challenges nowadays. I don't know why. Yeah, and that's up to 25. So with random black screen, something that happens with OBS when I switch between challenges. Oh, well, on full screen. Okay, now we are in Norway actually. So we have this Gen 4. We have these kind of longer stripes on the sides, which distinguish it from Sweden. They're longer and have kind of longer gaps in between them than Sweden. Also, in terms of houses, you still have that white and red color pattern, but you do also have a lot of white. I kind of touched upon that in other videos and streams as well, but Norwegians love their white paint on houses because it used to be a sign of wealth. So once the oil money started coming in, a lot of Norwegians painted their houses white to kind of flex on neighbors. So that's something you can use. Also, we have these mountains, which are something you would never see in Sweden or Finland. I wasn't quite sure what this might be. They're not quite tall enough to be like coastal, but also kind of a bit taller and like more rugged than you would expect, like south by Oslo or Hamar. I decided to go for Telemark, which is like a more inland mountainous area. It was actually up at Trondheim on this peninsula. it's kind of difficult because that peninsula can look a lot similar to the area around Oslo. Initial vibes. Both like very agricultural areas. Oh, and yeah, and this is where it ends. We have a very generic, like sort of Eastern European highway here. I couldn't see any like distinguishing. Oh my god, I'm only now do I see that that red car. Oh god, it's so embarrassing. I didn't catch it at all initially. Yeah, so I had no idea here. I didn't think of look at the car. That's like one of the stupidest ways to end the streak. Yeah, this is obviously Ukraine with the red car. However, as I somehow managed to miss that, I was kind of clueless here, and because I saw some fruit trees by the side of the road, I decided to go for Slovakia because it is also very flat here, and we have these kind of rows of trees. The kind of Danube Valley in Slovakia is very flat and agricultural. In hindsight, also, like, obviously you have the car, but and as I said, also it would be a lot more like intensively managed. Like there would be like active fields and stuff in Ukraine because the population is shrinking. A lot of fields are laying barren, like you see here. Yeah, so that's a very unfortunate way to end the streak, but yeah, what can you do? I should have paid more attention. So yeah, I made more wrong choices there, and that's what I ended after 26 countries. Yeah, so a bit sad, but what can you do? I still think I got some pretty decent guesses in there. I will post the play along links in the description. It's almost likely gonna be a no moving diverse world, a no moving A balanced road, and a moving game on my European Union map. So yeah, feel free to play through that if you want, and I'll see you hopefully next week. So thank you and bye.